Hi, everyone. If you joined us a few minutes ago, we're just waiting for all the attendees to log on, give them a few minutes, and then we'll start the meeting officially. Okay, I think we can get started. My name is Eric Scher, a Community Development Director. Thank you for joining us this evening on the proposed project on Walnut Street. I'm going to give you a little bit of housekeeping rules if you're participating in tonight's meeting and how this is going to work. And then I'm going to hand it over to Vanessa Norwood, our contract planner, who's going to explain a bit about the project. So if you are participating on Zoom and you were able to register by the deadline, we're going to have multiple times for public questions and comments on this project. And so we'll ask you to use the raise hand function on the bottom of your screen if you'd like to come onto the meeting and ask a question. You'll have to unmute yourself at that time, and you can have the opportunity to turn your video on if you like, or you can leave it off. That's up to you. For those that haven't been able to participate or weren't able to register in time and would still like to participate and might be watching on the live stream on YouTube, you can still do so by emailing planning@cityoflaverne.org, your name and email address, or I'm sorry, your name and phone number, and we will call you at the end of the meeting when we wrap up with the final questions and comments. So hopefully that's clear. I'll explain those rules in a little bit. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Contract Planner Vanessa Norwood, who's going to give her presentation on this project. And please just bear with me as I go to a share screen mode.
Thank you, Eric. Welcome to the workshop for the Brandywine Homes Walnut Street project. I'm Vanessa Norwood, project planner. After each presentation, as Eric stated, time is allotted for brief questions and comments relative to that presentation. At the end of the workshop, we will open it up for all questions and comments on the project. The Walnut Street project is proposed to be located on a 0.705 acre city-owned property. The city purchased these properties in 2008 and 2009 with funds from the city's low and moderate income housing fund with the intention of developing affordable housing. Until now, efforts to develop the property were not successful due to the cost of development. Recently, Brandywine Homes proposed a townhome project on Fruit Street, and through discussions with the city has entered into a development agreement to provide affordable units on this site. Through this combined effort, Brandywine Homes would provide moderate income qualified units without additional city funds. And I'll discuss this in more detail later in the presentation. In addition, completion of this project would help further the city's general plan housing goals and help meet the city's obligation to accommodate its fair share of required affordable housing units. Although the project is affordable, required income levels to qualify for one of these homes would range from $64,900 to $92,750 as highlighted in gray on this slide. This level of income is inclusive of a variety of professional occupations such as teachers, technical and management personnel, and public safety employees. The program's outreach will initially focus on sales to Laverne residents who would be considered preferred buyers and given preference for the purchase of one of these homes to the extent legally permissible. This project includes 8 new and attractive 2-story homes with a driveway leading to an interior motor court accessing the two-car garages. A homeowners association is also proposed for maintenance of the common driveway. The proposed homes would have a net floor area of 1,281 square feet, which is consistent with the surrounding housing stock. The proposed project would enhance a now vacant lot, with new housing and updated streetscape. Entry into the project would be provided from Walnut Street. From there, all units would have interior driveway access to garages. Various city departments, including Public Works, Fire, Police, and Community Development, have reviewed this proposal and worked with the applicant over the past several months on revisions to the project. In addition, the city conducted a request for proposals process to secure an independent firm to evaluate environmental impacts in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA as it will be referred to throughout our presentations this evening. LSA Associates, Inc. was selected, and LSA staff are in the process of preparing an initial study and related studies to thoroughly evaluate the project. The CEQA process and timeline will be discussed later in this workshop by LSA staff. Staff now feels the project is ready to move forward, which is why we're now conducting neighborhood workshops prior to the public hearings that will occur starting in midsummer. As a component of this two-part project, the applicant proposes to construct 50 interlocking townhomes located at 3717 Fruit Street. Due to the proximity of the two projects, a separate virtual neighborhood workshop was conducted on May 18th to present that project to the Fruit Street neighborhood. Details regarding this project and the virtual workshop are on the city's Community Development Department website under current projects. The link on this slide provides information on the project and the workshop. The Walnut Street proposal includes 7 entitlement actions, a disposition and development agreement, affordable housing agreement, general plan amendment, specific plan amendment, tentative tract map, and conditional use permit, along with the appropriate environmental documentations will be reviewed by the Planning Commission and City Council. The first, a precise plan review, would be considered by the Development Review Committee to ensure that the project meets development requirements contained in the zoning code and design standards as being proposed. As previously mentioned, a disposition and development agreement has been entered into between the city and Brandywine to ensure development of affordable housing units on Walnut Street in conjunction with development of the Fruit Street site. The Fruit Street component of the overall project is required to provide 15% of the units at an affordable rate. The 8 homes proposed on Walnut Street meet the affordable requirement with the proposal for the moderate income households. The affordable housing agreement assures the long-term affordability of the project. The agreement includes eligibility requirements for qualifying applicants for this housing opportunity, a schedule for completion and occupancy of the units, and the term of the affordable requirement. Currently, the city's general plan is undergoing an update that will create a new specific plan designation of specific plan residential. In anticipation of this update, the proposed project amendment would designate this proposal site as specific plan residential, consistent with the updated general plan. This amendment would also maintain state required consistency between the general plan and the specific plan. The current Walnut Street specific plan allows developments with 29,000 to 35,999 square feet to have a density up to 8 units under one ownership, such as an apartment building. While this proposed project is the same density, the difference is that each of the 8 lots would have individual ownership, which is more desired and the preferred housing type for this area. As previously stated, the Walnut Street specific plan would be amended to specific plan residential and thereby create specific development standards for residential projects. Within the specific plan, a conditional use permit is required for all proposed residential uses. A conditional use permit allows the ability to tailor requirements for the property and by doing so assures acceptable and suitable integration of the project into the area through specific conditional requirements that must be met as part of the project's approval. Lastly, a tentative map allows subdivision of the land for the sale of 8 individual lots, which is consistent with the existing density allowed for properties of this size. As mentioned earlier, the project's environmental factors are being evaluated in order to determine the appropriate CEQA document for project consideration. This process will be discussed by LSA staff a little bit later in this workshop. There will be future opportunities for additional public comment during the upcoming public hearings. The Planning Commission is anticipated to hear this matter in late July or early August, and City Council in late September. As documents are finalized, the city's website will be updated with project information and hearing dates. City staff is here to answer questions relative to the process and timing of this case. And as previously mentioned, subsequent to each presentation, there will be opportunity to ask questions and comment on the section presented. We are available at this time to answer questions you may have.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, if you're participating on Zoom, if you have a question of staff primarily about the processing of these applications, please use the raise hand function at this time and we'll bring you in the room. Otherwise, without questions now, you will have opportunities later after hearing more of the presentations by both the developer and the environmental consultant. And if you're not participating via Zoom, again, you'll need to email your phone number to planning@cityoflaverne.org before the end of this meeting, and we will make sure to call you on the phone towards the end before we wrap up. At this time, I don't see any hands raised, so I'm going to bring the developer into the room. Oh, actually, there is one. So hold on one second. Hi, Mr. Alejandro. There you go. Hi, welcome.
Hello. Yeah, I was just wondering if it would apply to, if the conditional use permit and the specific plan will apply to the rest of the neighborhood there on that block.
So the way that the language is drafted today is that the conditional use permit will only apply to planned unit development such as this, where you have multiple units all being developed at the same time on a bigger lot, or attached homes, if you wanted to propose attached homes. Regular single family homes would not need a conditional use permit. Does that answer your question?
Sort of, but the how about the lot size? When the lot size, the adjustment for the lot size, would that be if we build something similar in that area with the lot size and the density also apply if it was affordable housing also?
Yeah, so there's different allowances for affordable housing for sure that are basically bonuses. And as Vanessa mentioned, this project's density is compliant with the existing density. So if you've looked up, I don't recall on your property how many units you're allowed for. This change with this project will allow those units to be individually for sale, when before they would have to stay under one ownership. But if they're not going to be individually for sale and you meet the requirements of the code, then you would not need the conditional use permit as long as they weren't attached to each other.
Okay.
Any other questions at this time?
No.
Okay, I'm going to move you back as an attendee, so hold on one second. And then you'll be able to continue to follow along. And we've brought on Alex Hernandez and Angela Meyer, both with Brandywine. Alex, you want to go and introduce yourself and talk a little bit more about the project?
Sure. Alex Hernandez, president of Brandywine Homes. Also with me tonight is Angela Meyer, our project manager. Probably before we get to describing the project, I know we prepared a video that is kind of inclusive of both of the communities that we're proposing. Maybe we can share that with the community and then I can take questions or add to that after the video.
Sure. Let me give you 1 second to pull that up, please. Okay, you can see the screen, correct?
Yes.
My name is Dave Barisic. I am one of the principals at Brandywine Homes. I primarily focus my time on market research, product development, and sales and marketing. Brandywine Homes was started in 1994 by my dad, Jim Barisic, who's still actively involved in the company. It was started as primarily a company to develop and build infill tract home communities in Southern California, primarily LA and Orange County.
Hi, I'm Alex Hernandez, the president of Brandywine Homes. I oversee the residential construction and development for all of our communities in Southern California. We're excited to introduce the new community we're calling for Donna. It is going to be a community located in the city of Laverne, and we are having two locations. Actually, it's a public-private partnership with the city of Laverne. The first location is on Root Street, location of an existing old nursery, and we are looking to recycle and renovate that property into 15 new townhomes. The other piece is located on Walnut Avenue, city-owned property, currently vacant, been vacant for quite some time. We are going to be proposing new single-family homes that will all be restricted to affordable families, so providing a great opportunity for new home ownership for affordable families. Laverne is a target for new development. Great schools, great location to freeway access. Both of our locations are close to shopping, a lot of conveniences. That's what our buyers are looking for today. New construction versus existing resale homes have a lot of benefits for the new home. The new home is all energy efficient. It comes with all the new bells and whistles to make living easier and more convenient. All of our units have two-car garages, their own private open space, self-contained. Project Approved is gated, sense of security, sense of community. This type of development benefits the city, its local residents in multiple ways.
Brandywine builds for the next generation in a couple of different ways. First, we always try to aim for more moderately priced housing, which is definitely good for the next generation, especially in Southern California. We try to gear our product types towards what the next generation wants in homes. Over the last year specifically, with COVID, people have really done a lot of working from home. So we revamped all of our product, made sure we were able to supply them with places to work at their homes. That's not just at a kitchen island, an actual workspace in the homes. But we're also very focused on things like energy efficiency, solar power, giving people the ability to charge their electric cars at home, things that the next generation really looks for now. What makes Brandywine Homes stand out amongst other home builders is the fact that we're family owned and operated. We really take pride in what we do. Our name is attached to it. So the homeowner experience, from the sales process to the warranty process to the next 10 years of living in your home, we really want that to be special. We want it to be stress-free. And that, I think, is what sets us apart. They're new members of our family.
Initially, with the new jobs that we bring to the city, revenue that people will be buying and shopping in those retail locations that are nearby, providing new students for the schools that are coming in, new families that will be part of that community. Long term, we're helping the city meet its housing needs. Every city in the state of California is required to provide new housing, and we're helping them hit two milestones with this, from the market rate as well as the affordable.
Okay, anything else to add, Alex, before we get to questions?
I think just some highlights for the community that are familiar with this property. As you know, it's vacant currently, and we were proposing to, we would build the new homes, but also improve the perimeter. There'd be new block wall constructions all the way around. So between us and the neighbor to the west, there would be a new block wall. There'd be a new block wall built next to the railroad. There would also be one along the channel. So they're completely surrounded with all new construction, new block walls, all new streets. The homes that are designed to face Walnut in a similar pattern to what the community is out there. Each of the homes have their own private front yards and private areas, and more to provide all the traditional elements of a single family home. There are 3 bedrooms, and then to piggyback on the chart that was given, I think on the income, the purchase price of these homes will probably be in the low 400,000s. So to give the community a sense of what that translates to the market, what it would be restricted to, be in the 400,000s are preliminary thoughts. We're excited about the two communities and the opportunity to build in Laverne. And now I'm open to any questions the community may have.
And once again, Zoom members, please raise your hand if you have questions of the developer at this time. If you're watching on YouTube, please email your phone number in to planning@cityoflaverne.org. I don't see any questions at this time. So thank you, Alex and Angela. I'm going to move you back as attendees for the time being. And now we'll bring on our environmental consultant.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
We can, yeah. Dio, it's just you today representing LSA,
Yes.
correct?
That's correct. Just me today.
Okay, do you want me to run your PowerPoint or are you going to do it on your side?
Let me see if I can.
I've got it pulled up.
Go ahead. That works. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks. So my name is Dio Glentis. I work for LSA. We are the environmental consultant for this project. And as Vanessa stated earlier, it's two project sites across town. One of them is 50 townhomes, and the development proposed before you today is 8 affordable housing units on 0.75 acres. As part of the analysis, we are conducting an initial study in public input with this workshop today, and taking that into consideration of what the analysis to incorporate design features and or mitigation measures in order to reduce impacts to the environment to levels below significance thresholds in accordance with CEQA. Next slide, please. So LSA, we prepared some site-specific technical studies for biological resources, cultural resources, noise and vibration, vehicle miles traveled, and air quality, greenhouse gas, and energy modeling. Next slide, please.
Hold on. There we go.
Sure. So biological resources evaluation, we deployed a biologist to the site to do a pedestrian survey, evaluate any trees that would be on site or in proximity potentially affected by the development. And we did a California Natural Diversity Database and research to identify if there are any sensitive species with the potential to be affected by the project. We also deployed an archaeologist to this site to do a pedestrian survey. And in this case, there's nothing developed on the site. There's no buildings, so there would be no architectural historic component. The second bullet point there was for the other project site. We did a noise and a vibration assessment to consider effects of the project to nearby sensitive receptors. The adjacent residential uses to the north and the west are sensitive receptors, as is Lordsburg Park across Live Oak Wash to the east. We would evaluate noise effects from construction activities as well as from operation of the project itself. In this particular site, it's only 8 units, so it doesn't generate enough traffic to warrant a transportation study. The transportation study is conducted for the 50 units to the north on Fruit Street. In this particular case, because these 8 units are all affordable housing units, they would be considered exempt from a CEQA standpoint with regards to impacts to the transportation network. We're also conducting an air quality and greenhouse gas and energy modeling for impacts to sensitive receptors from emissions of construction equipment, emissions during operation of the projects, if there are any objectionable odors that would come from the development of the project either during construction or operation. We also calculated the estimated greenhouse gas emissions that would be emitted from the project construction and operation, and also determined the amount of energy that would be required to construct and to operate the project. Additional technical studies that were prepared by Brandywine and third-party consultants included geotechnical, phase 1 and phase 2 environmental site assessments, infiltration testing, and hydrology studies. So in the CEQA process, we are where you see the red circle. We're holding a public workshop. We're in the process of preparing the initial study, and we would take input from this public workshop into consideration as part of the analysis. Next step after today would be to complete the initial study, incorporate mitigation measures and or project design features to ensure that the project remains, the impacts of the project would be less than significant in accordance with CEQA. Once that initial study is complete, the city will disseminate it for public review for 20 days. The public will have an opportunity to comment on the project. We would respond, the city would respond to the public's comments, and the project would go to planning commission hearing as well as city council hearing. And where you see those yellow rectangles is opportunities for the public to provide the input on the project. So we are here in May, two public workshops. We expect the initial study to be completed in early June for city review. We would expect to disseminate the initial study for public review in late June. And it would be 20-day public review period. We would respond late July. We would be responding to the public comments, and planning commission hearing is expected late July or early August, and the city council is expected mid-August to early September.
Thank you, Dio. Okay, I'm going to bring Alex back in and Angela. Just this is our, we're here at near the end of our meeting, so last opportunity for people on Zoom to participate by raising your hand and asking questions or providing comments, or anybody watching on YouTube to email planning@cityoflaverne.org with your phone number. So far, there have not been any requests to be called on this item. So of those that are still participating via Zoom, again, this will be your final opportunity to raise your hand to ask any questions. Otherwise, we're pretty much done with the meeting. So I don't see any hands raised. So going once. Oh, there we go. All right. And Ms. Hager, you'll have to unmute yourself, please.
All right.
And you are on. Please go ahead.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much for making this panel public. This is very interesting to learn about, as I am about 2 blocks away from this new build in Walnut. My question I wanted to ask is that is there anything in place to ensure that these homes don't immediately become investment properties? At that price range, that 400,000 price range, it'd be a pretty quick flip to sell at the 700,000 range and then, start renting it.
Yeah, Alex, do you want me to answer? Or do you want to answer?
Sure. There are going to be recorded restrictions. There's going to be restrictions all the way through the purchasing process. First of all, they need to meet a criteria on income as the city specified. That'll be verified by the city. We'll bring them prospective buyers. The city will verify they meet those income requirements. And then there is recorded covenants on the property that prevents what you're talking about, the flipping. This is intended for affordable families. That doesn't prevent them from selling their home down the road, but there are restrictions that it would have to be resold to an affordable another family. And there is some appreciation, I believe, there's built in, but it's very minimal. The intent is not for the flipper. This is intent for the family who wants to be there a while.
And I will add that that's the recorded agreement for the affordable housing component is for a 55-year term. So it's a longer term too. So as Alex mentioned, he did a good job, but it's specifically designed for that not to happen. Crystal, did you have any other questions?
That was my question. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. All right, nobody else has raised their hand. So I want to thank everybody for participating in today's meeting. The website for this this project is cityoflaverne.org/walnut project or walnut development. Thank you. Where we will post a link to this video so anybody can watch this after the fact, as well as the video that we shared during the meeting. and other relevant documents such as the plans and some brief questions and answers. So that way, and then that'll be your place to go to find out updates on the project. And while if any additional information is generated or produced, that'll all be available to the public on that website. So thank you everybody for your participation and have a good evening.